Hi, in today's webinar, we'll be seeing through the core modules part 2. Let's start with the list of modules we'll be seeing today. We'll be seeing through examinations, remarks, manage users, finance, and report. Let's start with examination. We'll go ahead with general examinations today. Before creating exams, we need to do some settings regarding the examinations. So let's do that in academics. We need to select examination and do some general settings. In general settings, let's see the set grading levels. Before starting with grading levels, we need to make sure that this grading level that we set are common or specific for a particular batch. Now I'm selecting it as common and creating an exam grading levels. Say I'm giving an grade name A, and giving a minimum score of 95%. Say a description of excellent and giving a credit point 10. Similarly, I can create grading levels. Say B, 80, minimum score, description as good, and credit point as 9. Let me create and show you for a batch. Now I want to give a grade as B for a score above 80% and name it as good. And I want to give the grade as C for a score above 70% and give a description as well done. Similarly, we can give grading levels for individual batches or individual courses, or have a common one for everything. Next, let's create ranking level. Let us select a particular batch and create ranking levels. I'm creating as top performer. And giving a GPA level, say 9, and I should give a limit, say GPA limit type as lower. That means a student who has a GPA at least 9 will be falling under this category as top performer. And I can give a number of subjects as 5 or 4, depending on the number of subjects I want the students to be considered. And I give a subject limit as lower or upper. That means the at most or at least 4 subjects. I'm considering it as at least 4 subjects. A student should have a GPA level of 9, will be considered as best performer. Similarly, I can create another ranking level. As a GPA level as 8, and again selecting the GPA limit type as lower, and considering a subject 4 and subject limit type as lower. So this shows that a student who falls under the high performer category should have a GPA at least of 8 and number of subjects should be of 4. The next is class designation. We can create class designation for students by giving a name, say like first class. We consider the students have first class if the GPA is above 9, the CGPA is above 9. So you can give a second class for the student. If the GPA is above 8. So now the initial settings are over. Let's start with creating exams. Exam management. Select the particular course where we want to do the where we want to create exam for this course. Let me create an exam for this course. Create new. I'm selecting it as marks and grade. I'm saving it. Now it shows me an option of entering maximum marks. Say I'm giving the maximum mark as 100 and a minimum mark as 40. This subject has 3 subjects, English, Maths and Biology. Now I'm setting timetable for the exam. I'm saving the timetable. Now the timetable is created. Now we can publish the exam schedule that we've created right now. So once this is published, the schedule will be sent to the students to their login. The student can view this timetable in their login. Once the exams are done, we can enter the marks right here. Let's enter marks for English for the students Clara, Scarlett and Srinath. Once the marks are entered, the grades get displayed automatically. In case if the student is absent, we have the option of selecting it here in the checkbox and saving it. Let's do for other subjects too. Now I've created exam 1 and given marks to that. Let me publish the exam results. Once the exams are created and published, you can give an option to connect exams. Now since I have only one term in this course, let me select it and give a weightage as 100. So in case I have another term or another set of exams, I can distribute the weightage and have a total weightage of 100. Now since I have only one exam, I've given the weightage as 100 and I'm saving it. Now I can generate a report for this course. I've generated the report for them. Let's see the report center. In this report center, there are various options for taking report using these exam scores. So let's see few of them. So here is an exam-wise report. So for exam-wise report, we can select a particular batch. So let's select a particular batch. Let's select a particular exam group, say term 1, and we can view the exam-wise report of this course. For this student, we can see the number of subjects available, the score that they've got, and the maximum that score for which they've attended the exam. Similarly, we can check for all students. We have a graph here representing the mark that they've scored and the class average. We have an option of taking a PDF report. let's check the subject-wise report. We need to choose a particular course. Let me choose a particular course. And let's select a subject. So right here we can see the students in the particular course who have scored and how much have they scored. We can get the report in a PDF format or CSV format. Let's go for group exam report. In group exam report, we can see the group report of a batch. Let me select a particular batch right now. I'm selecting G1 C 2015. We can see the group report of this batch where the combined report of term 1 and term 2 is seen here. For a single subject English, we can see the combined report of this student. Similarly, we can see that for every subject, we have an option of taking a PDF report as well as CSV. Let's see the next one, Archive student report. Let me select a course. Let me select a batch. Here I can see the Archive student, like the students that who have left are not right now present, say a former student, and their scores for unit test 1, unit test 2 and unit test 3 and a combined report of it. So you can see, check all these reports. Now let me try one combined report. In combined report, we have the option of selecting two categories, say class designation and ranking level. So in case if I want to check who are these students who fall under a particular category of average class and average performer in a particular course, I can select the batch and I can select these categories and view. So I can see that there's one student who falls under average performer student and he doesn't fall, and there's no other student who fall under the average class. Similarly, we can customize and view. The report that we generated for the general exam can be viewed in this view transcript. Let's see the report that we've generated. We generated for class standard 12. Here we can see that the marks that we entered there for the student is displayed here. So for English, the student has got 78%. For Maths, the student has got 95%. Similarly, let's see for other students. We can view a combined percentage and course-wise combined percentage report. We can even take a PDF format. So now let's go for the next one, CC exam. Before starting with CC exam, we need to do certain settings in CC examinations. So in CC examinations, we have two categories that we need to go through. This scholastic and scholastic settings. So in Scholastic, it's a 9-point grading system, whereas Scholastic is a 5-point grading system. This Scholastic exams are normal subjects that the students have generally, and these Scholastic are something like a co-curricular classes. Let's see the settings that we have to make before creating an exam. We need to do the general settings where we can create the grading levels that we have already created right now. So we have this grading levels to A to F, and we've given a minimum score for them. Let's go for the CC settings. So in CC settings, we need to do the basic settings. Let's start with CC grade set. In CC grade sets, we need to do the course scholastic grading levels. So that is nothing but the 5-point grading system. So once when we create it, we need to enter grades inside which will have to give a name for the grade and a grade point of 5. Similarly, we're giving a grade's name say B and a grade point say 4. We're giving a grade name C and a grade point 3. We can do this for the grade 1 to 5 and move to CC exam category. According to CC exam categories, they need to be 2 exams, say term 1 and term 2. We need to create every terms like term 1 and term 2 and give it descriptions of the time span and update it. Similarly, we need to do for term 2 and give a description. Once the CC exam categories are created, we need to do the CC weightages. In CC weightages, we need to understand that there are something called FAs and SAs. In CC, we have 2 FAs 10 for 10 and 30 essays. We give a weightage as 30 for essay and 10 for FA. We are giving 2 10 FAs and 1 30 essay. That sums up to be 50. We do this for term 1 and for term 2, the same as 2 10 FA and 30 essay. For both the terms together, it sums up to be 100. So right now we need to create it here as 10 weightage for type FA for the exam category term 1 and 30 weightage for SA for exam category term 1. So this is over. For FEDINA, we need not have to create 2 FAs. We need to create only 1 FA. The other one gets automatically created. So for term 2, we are creating 1 FA with a weightage of 10 and another essay with a weightage of 30 for the term 2. So once these CC weightages are created, we need to assign weightages. So let's assign weightages. Let's select a course and we need to assign these weightages. So we are selecting these weightages for every term. Let me select a standard that I'm going to do now. Since I'm going to do for the standard 10, I'm selecting these weightages here and saving it. Once this basic settings are over, let's go to Course Scholastic settings. In Course Scholastic items, we need to create the Course Scholastic skills, Course Scholastic areas and activities that we want to give for the students. So let's see the one that I've already created. Then I'm creating something called thinking skills and giving a header named thinking skills. We need to mark it as Course Scholastic area And we need to select the CCE grade set that we've already created. I've created a 5-point grading system already in this Course Scholastic grades. So I'm selecting it. I'm selecting a type called Course Scholastic activity. I'm updating it. Similarly, I can create a new one. Say, and I'm selecting a particular grade set that I've already created in the settings, and I'm selecting the Course Scholastic activity. Let me give a description. So once all these observation groups are created, we can assign these Course Scholastic items according to the course and according to our requirement. Say I'm doing it for the standard 10. I want to only select few of these observation skills, so I'm selecting very few of it, and I'm now saving it. So once these Scholastic settings are over, I'm doing the Scholastic settings. I need to create the formative assessment items. So for creating a formative assessment items, I've already created few. Say for English, I've already told that there will be 2 FAs and 1 essay. So now we've already created 1 essay. Now we are creating 2 FAs for every normal subject. So for English, I'm creating 2 FAs, say FA1 and FA2 for the term 1 and term 2. Similarly, I'm creating 2 FAs for term 2, English FA3 and FA4 under the term 2. The same way I have to do for every subject. So let me show. So I'm creating FA, I'm selecting the category, exam category, be it term 1. I'm selecting the FA category calculation as average of descriptive indicators. And I'm saving it. So I need to create 3 more left. I'm doing this for FA2, which is for term 1. I'm giving a description. I can choose any of this, say sum of descriptive indicators or average of descriptive indicators. I'm selecting in term 2 now because this is FA3. I'm selecting FA4 and selecting second term. So thus these exam categories are applied for these FA groups that we created right now. Now we need to assign FA items that we've created now to the standard that we want to give exams for. I'm selecting the standard 10. I'm selecting a particular subject, say English. Now I need to assign the FA groups for these particular subjects. I'm assigning English FA1, English FA2, English FA3 and English FA4. This considers the term 1 and term 2 as well. So once this is selected, we need to save it and select the next subject. Let me select for Max and save. Let me do for science, FA1, FA2, FA3 and FA4 and save it. Similarly, we've created for Hindi and it's available here. The one that we previously created are available here. Now I'm selecting it and saving. So now these settings are over. So we need to create exam. Let's create exam for standard 10. The Course Scholastic result entries are automatically available here. All we need to do is create exam. I'm creating term 1. I'm giving a maximum mark. And I need to set a timetable. Now the exam term 1 is created. Let me publish the exam schedule and enter the marks. So right here I can enter the grades, marks the students have scored and view the grades. So here we have the option called FA scores. The ones that we've created there get displayed here. So I gave two FAs, say FA1 and FA2 for the term 1. Now it's getting displayed here. Now we have the option of entering the marks for the students, say Dev and Farah. We can select the particular student and enter the marks for 100. Similarly, we can do for other FA score. This can be done for all the subjects and the FA score respectively. Here it clearly displays the descriptive indicators that we have created there, say quizzes, oral tests. Similarly, we need to enter the FA scores and the marks for every individual student. We can create another term, term 2. And give maximum and minimum marks and give a timetable for it. I'm giving a timetable for this subject. Once we created a timetable, we can save it, publish the exam schedule, and again enter the marks, just like how we did for term 1. For each subject, we have these FA scores right here. All we need to see is that FA score for FA score for English, FA3 is viewed here because it's term 2. We can do the same for FA4. We can do this for all the subjects. We have the option of even entering the remarks and marking absent student here. The indicators that we create get displayed detailedly here. So once these scores are entered and once the exam results are published, we can enter the course scholastic result entries as well. So we can view the ones that we've created there, the one that we chose there, the items that we chose there, like life skills, thinking skills, and visual and performing arts are the ones that I chose from the list of entries that were available. Right now I'm entering scores for them. So we know that these grade levels are 5-point grading system. So the grading level starts from 1 to 5. So I'm entering a score grade point here for a student. I need to do the same for all the courses that they've registered for. So once these entries are given and the exam schedules are published, we can see the report. To see the report, we need to go to Report Center and go for CC report. Let me show you the report that I've already generated. For CC, I'm seeing score first from standard 9. This is how the report will be viewed. So let me show you for term 1, term 2 and overall. For term 1 we can see there are 4 subjects and the FA1 and FA2 score that we've given with an essay score. As I told you, the weightage is 10 for each FAs and 30 for each essay. So it sums up to be 50, where term 2 has the same 10 for each FA and 30 for each essay. So the grades get displayed here and the overall is calculated with a grade point. So the cumulative grade point is also seen right here. We can also see the course scholastic activity and the grades that they scored for it. So right here we have the skills that we have registered for and the descriptive indicators in detail with the grades that they've scored. We have the option of selecting students and viewing the report for each student individually. We can also take a PDF report or a CSV report. Next, let's go for ICSE exams. So before going for ICSE exams, we need to do certain settings in ICSE examination settings. So in ICSE examination settings, there's something called ICSE exam category. We need to enter the exam category that we want to give them. So we are giving them term 1 and term 2. We need to select here and enter term 1, the description of the exam category and the detailed student report that we want to see. In case if we want to see a detailed student report, we can select the option yes, else it can be made as no. So after creating 2 exam categories, we can see the ICSE weightages. So we need to create these weightages. Like I have created a list of weightages right here. According to the ICSE, we need to give EA weightages and IA weightages. So I'm creating a primary normal subject for the exam category term 1 that I've previously created, and I'm giving a EA weightage as 80% and IA weightage is 20%. I'm giving a report mark type as grade and mark. Since we know that it is not a co-curricular subject, it is a normal subject, I'm selecting the option no and updating it here. Similarly, I can do for a co-curricular subject. So in a co-curricular subject, I'm typing it as primary co-curricular subject and selecting the exam category as term 1 and giving a weightage for IE weightage as 0 and IA weightage is 100. So these co-curricular subjects have IE weightages as 100 and EA weightages as 0. Now we can choose the report mark type as grade and mark, and since we know that this is a co-curricular subject, we are selecting the option co-curricular, yes, and updating here. Similarly, we can create primary normal subjects for term 2 and co-curricular subjects for term 2. We can also create upper primary normal subject and upper primary co-curricular subjects for both term and term 2. Next, let's assign weightages. We need to select a particular course, standard 5. I'm choosing a subject, English. I'm choosing the weightage that we want to give. I'm selecting upper primary normal subject term 1 and upper primary normal subject term 2. I've selected it here. Let me show with a new standard that I've created already. I'm choosing the standard 11. I'm choosing a subject English. Let me select, since it's a normal subject, I'm selecting it as upper primary normal subject term 1 and upper primary normal subject term 2. I'm saving it. Similarly, let me do it for other subjects that I've created. Once weightages are assigned, we can go for internal assessment groups. So there are certain internal assessment groups that we've created already. Say let me show you how to create it. We need to give a group name, say IE term 1 English 2, and need to give the exam category, say term 1, and need to give a particular name that has to come under the IA group. Say I'm giving practicals for these students and naming the indicator as A and giving a maximum mark as 100. I want to give more particulars, so I'm giving another name, say project, and giving an indicator B and giving a maximum mark as 100. Similarly, I'm creating another one, say activity-based learning, and giving an indicator C with a maximum mark 100. Now the indicators listed can be calculated using a formula among any one of this. I'm taking this formula, say best of 1, A, B, C from this. It just gives the best of the number of scores that are in this list of indicators. So I can enter such formulas and save it. Similarly, I can do for second term, for the same subject English 1, I can give a different names here, different categories, and then I can give you different formula too. See, I've given average for A of B of C. So once these internal assessment groups are created, we need to assign these internal assessment groups for the course that we want to apply for. I'm selecting standard 11, I'm selecting a particular subject English, and I'm selecting it here. Say I want to give IA term 1 English and IA term 2 English. I can save it. Let me do for max as well. IA term 1 max and IA term 2 max. Since I've not created for science, it's not getting displayed. Let me create one for science. And I'm giving a description and I'm choosing a particular exam category, say term 1. I want to give this indicator as practicals. I'm naming the indicator as A. I want to give a maximum mark of 100. And I want to have another option saying project. I'll name the indicator as B. Let me give a maximum mark as 100 for this exam project. Now both the indicators A and B are available. I want to give a formula as A plus B, that is the sum of the scores that the student gets in for both the indicators. Let me save it. So like how I create these groups here, I can also assign for that particular subject. So I've created for science and I'm assigning for science right here. I need to save it once I select it. So once these ICSE exam settings are created, we need to create exam in exam management. We can create one. I'm creating for standard 11. Let me create one exam for term 1 and give a maximum minimum score and create a timetable. Once I create a timetable, I can schedule it, publish the schedule, and I enter the marks that the students have scored. Right here I can enter the score for English for the student. And I can also enter the IA scores here for the subject English. I have created and I've assigned for English, so it's getting displayed here. And I can see the indicators that I've created there. Say particular indicators like practicals and assessment, and I'm giving the score for the each indicators for the maximum mark 100, and I'm saving it here. We can do that individually for every student. Let me enter the scores for subject maths and save, and also enter the IA scores for the same subject. So once we finish entering scores here, we can view the report. So let me finish this. For entering scores for Lena, and let's view a report that we've already generated. So let's view a report, ICSE report. Let's see how it gets displayed for the students. This is a score report for an ICSE exam that I've already done. So it displays the term 1 for IA and EA scores. Let's see, for English, it shows the score for IA score, and it also shows the EA score, and it shows the total with a grade and the score that the student have got. Let's see the score for the other students as well. The report is displayed for the other students too. We have the option of selecting the student here and viewing the report. We can see the overall details as well, the total what they've scored for the term 1 and the percentage that they've acquired. We have an option of entering a remark here and the grade levels that is available. We can take a PDF report or a CSV report here. So the examination module is over. Now we can go for remarks. So for giving remarks to students, we need to go to an option, academics, and select the option remark. There are two options available here, add custom remark and list of custom remarks. To add custom remark, we can select a particular course, particular batch, and see the students available in this batch, and we can enter the remark for individual student. So we can give a subject type and we can enter a remark. So I'm entering the remark for these students and I'm saving it. Once this remarks are been saved here, it can be viewed by the students in their profile. We can view these same remarks in the student's login. So let me try that now. Let me log in from the student profile. Okay, let me try for another student. Let me try the same for another student for the batch that I've created recently. So let me give a remark for this student, Clara. Let me get her ID, student ID. This is the admission ID, so we can log in through her admission ID now. It's asking for the first time login password. Here in the student profile, we have the option of seeing the remarks that this teacher has given for this particular student. So in Clara's profile, she can view the remark that a teacher has given. Say the good work that I typed there has been reflected here. Similarly, we can enter remarks for students. And also we have the option of viewing the list custom remarks. So we can select the course, we can select the batch, and we can select the students for whom like this remarks have been given. So a science teacher has given a remark, a class teacher has given a remark for this particular student. So the list of remarks can be seen in under the option remark. So now let's go for the next one, manage user. So there's in administration, we have an option called user. We need to type the any username, say employee name. I can type any employee that is available. Let me go for this employee Shalini. I have the option of editing her privileges here. While in her profile, I have the option of viewing her privileges. I have the option of changing the password of her login, and I have the option of editing her privileges. So let me view her profile at now. I can view her details, personal details, general details, like how I view her profile. And again, I can change her password. Now in case the employee forgets the password, now you can use this option for changing the password. We can also enter edit the privileges that we've already given while entering the employee detail at any point of time. Now I've given the HR basic and employee search privilege for this employee. Now I want to give more privileges, say student management and system settings. I can select these and give save. Similarly, I can do for another employee too. Let me select one employee and let's view the profile of the employee. Now it's an admin, so I have the option of changing the password or deleting the employee. Now the manage user option, we have seen that. Next, let's go to finance category. So finance is available in administration. In finance, we have certain topics called fee, category, transaction, donation, payslip, and finance report. and asset liability management. Let's say fees. For creating a fee, we need to come under the fee category and create fees here. So under the category create fee, we have 4 categories, different categories to create a fee for students. So let's create a fee here. I'm giving the name of the fee category that I want to view. So I'm giving a fee for standard 12. I'm giving the same description here, and I need to select this batch from the drop down. Here I'm selecting one particular batch. If I want to give the same fee category to other batches as well, I can select the number of batches in this drop down. I can select more than one and save it. Once the category is created, I need to give the particulars for this master category. So I create particulars, write in the option create particular, and I give name of the particular. I'm giving an admission fee and selecting the category that we've already created. We created a category called term 1 standard 12. Now I've selected and showing me this batches available that I have chosen from the category option. I've chosen only one batch, so now I'm selecting it and giving a description for the particular that I created. Now this particular that I've created is applicable for all students. I also have an option of giving this particular only for a selected number of students. So I can select a student category, say, and choose a particular student category from the drop down. So in case if I want to give this admission fee only for a particular student category, saying staff child, I can choose it here, or I can choose the admission number option and enter the admission numbers separated by comma. Now since I'm giving it for all the students, I'm selecting all and entering an amount of 1000 rupees and creating it. Similarly, I can create more such particulars. And giving an amount 1500. Let me give one particular for a particular category of student. Say student category, siblings in institutions, and I'm giving them an amount of 500. So we've created all the particulars. Let's view the particulars that we've created under the category. Let's select the batch that we created this category for, say standard 12. We have created a master category called term 1 for standard 12, and the particulars get displayed here with the amount and the created date. So once these particulars are created, we can apply discount for this master category that we created now. So in case if I want to give discount based on any category, say student category or students in general, like for a specific set of students or for a batch. Say I want to give this discount for student category, or I want to give it for batches. For I'm selecting a particular batch. Since the one I've already not created, so I'm choosing a student category itself, and I'm choosing the one that I've created. Term 1, standard 12, and I'm naming this as sibling discount. And I'm giving the student category as sibling in institutions. Now the students who are under this particular category in this batch get selected, get displayed, and we're giving this discount for batches of this category alone. And if you want to give this discount in percentage, we are selecting as percentage. If you want to give this discount in amount, saying 100 rupees or 200 rupees, we can select the amount and enter the discount amount. Now we are doing it as percentage, so I'm selecting the percentage. I'm giving a 20% discount. I'm creating it. The discount is created right now. We can generate fine for students who are paying the fee after the due date. So we can create a fine right here. So extend fee due date and select or create one. So days, since I've already created, I'm showing it to you. Days after due date. So after the due date, after first day of the due date, the fine amount will be considered as 500 and I'm entering it as amount, or even I can enter it as percentage and give a percentage of 2. So now I'm doing it as amount and I'm entering as 500 rupees. After the day 2, it will be considered as 1000 rupees. So this kind of fine can be created. Once these fine are generated, we can schedule the fees collection date. We have created the category. Now we can schedule the fees collection. Let me schedule it here. I am selecting the batch and naming it as term 1 standard 12. Let me select the fine that I've created now. And let me select the start date for paying the fees and the end date as 20th and the due date as 21st. The difference between the end date and the due date is that end date is the last date for paying the fee and the due date is the last date beyond which the fine will be started and the fine will be collected from that day. So we have selected both and we are creating it. Now the fees collection is being scheduled. So once this is scheduled, we can collect the fee for the student. So let's see the options, say fee structure right now. So we can view a fee structure of a student in this option. We can select a particular student and select their fee structure. So let me check the students that are available in the course that I've recently applied fees for. I've applied fee for standard 12 now. Let me search the fee structure. Now I've searched for this student and I can find there's a fee structure for the student. Here this is the fee structure that I've created right now. See, admission fee and tuition fee of 1000 and 1500, which is a total of 2500. I can take a PDF report of the fee structure of the student. Similarly, I can do that for every student in that batch. So the schedule fee that we've done now can be collected here. There are 3 options for collecting fees. So fee submission by batch can be done, or fee submission for each student individually can be done, or a particular wise fee payment can also be done. So fee submission by batches, here we need to select the particular batch and the fees collection that we've created here. And we can select the students in the particular batch and pay the fees here. So since I've selected the option fee submission by batch, it shows the students available in the batch. Now I can select any one of them and view their particulars. And I have also, another option of adding particulars or adding discounts right while paying the fee. Say in case I have an particular at the last minute for trip, saying trip fee, and I want to add an amount of 500. I update it here. I can also remove it at any point, but I'm updated here, and I can see the total has changed from 2,500 to 3,000. Now I can pay the fee. I have an option of selecting the mode of payment, say cash, online payment and check. And I can also give a payment note where I can also select a payment date right here. So I'm paying the fee. Once I've paid the fee, I have option of printing the receipt. We can see that the fees receipt is seen here with the particulars in detail and the total sum. And it also shows the payment history with the payment mode and the payment date. Similarly, we can pay fees for each student individually. We need to type the student name here to pay the fee. I've selected the student. Now it's asking for fees collection wise payment or pay all fees. I'm going for fees collection wise payment. I need to select the particular fees collection, and again I have the same options of adding discounts and adding particulars, and I can pay the fees here. I have an option of deleting these transactions too. There's another option called particular wise fee payment. So for particular wise fee payment, we need to select the fees collection. Now since it's already paid, it doesn't show. Let me delete this transaction and let's try for the student. Here it shows that particular admission fee has 1,000 rupees. Since I've taken the option as particular wise fee payment, I can pay for any one particular and I can pay the other particular after some time. Right now I want to pay only one particular, so I'm paying for 1,000 rupees right now. And I give pay fee. So the fee is paid. I've paid 1,000 rupees and the left out balance is 1,500. If you take a print receipt, you can see like it has a partial payment receipt, which is like only for the 1,000 rupees that I have paid for. I have a pending of 1,500, which is clearly shown here. You can take a PDF report as well. So the fees collection and fee structures are completed. Let's see the fees defaulters. Fees defaulters are the ones that have not paid the fee. So let's see some fees defaulters here. So I'm selecting a batch. I can see that this student hasn't paid the fee yet. So you can pay the fee right here or take the PDF report of the list of students who have not paid the fee. There's another option, say fees refund. At any point, if the institute want to refund the amount of fee that they've collected or the total fee that they've collected, they can create a refund rule. So initially they need to create a refund rule by selecting the fees category that already they've created and given a refund name for it and give a refund validity. I'm giving it as today and giving it as type percentage. You have another option, say amount. So I'm giving the percentage and giving a value. So I want to give a 50% refund of the fee they've already paid. So I've created the rule right now. Once creating the rule, you can view the refund or apply a refund. You can apply a refund by selecting the student in the particular batch that we created this for. Let me find the student now. Let's see the view refunds for the date. for start date and end date, we need to select a particular date to see the refunds that we've already done. So these are the refunds that I've already done from the start date of 4th of March and 16th of April. So we can see the student name and the amount that they refunded and the fees collection that we already created. From the fees collection, we've refunded a 23 rupee amount for the student. Similarly, we can see the list of students available and we can take a PDF report of it. So I guess the rule must be, we can have a view of the refund rule that we've created for term 1. Since I've given a validity, I can do it till that date. Students are not getting displayed now. Now let me go for the students' fee headwise report. This gives a batch-wise report, a fee collection-wise report, and student-wise report. Let me go for a batch-wise report. This gives the list of students, the batch names, and the fees master categories that they have, and the amount that they've paid, and the left out amount that they need to pay, with a detailed structure of the particulars and the discount they're applicable for. So here the student Akhil is under this batch G1 and has 3 fees categories here, where he has paid the amount in all the categories with a fee structure, detailed fee structure available here, and the student has a staff child discount, right, 100% for this fees master category. Similarly, all these students and their fee structures can be clearly seen here. We can filter it out by selecting the courses and selecting the batch, and we can view it here. Similarly, a fee collection wise report can be chosen to view the student and the fees collections. Student-wise report can also be seen by selecting the student and we have a view of the particulars and the amount to be paid and the amount to pay. And the paid amount also is available here. Thus the fees structure, creating fees is all completed. Let's see the other options available under finance. There's an option called category. These are the categories that can be created. These are the ones that are already there by default, and we can create certain categories here. Say these are the transactions that can happen in institutions. Let's see the ones that we've created right now. Breakage reward. This is some kind of a transaction that we will do at any point. Say some kind of breakage happens in an laboratory. We can enter such categories. Let me see textbooks. We can create descriptions for a time period, and is this under an income? So textbooks, we know that it is an income. So we are selecting the income option and we can update it. We'll see, and another one we've created. It's an exam category name, uniforms, and the description. We can give any uniform description, say student uniforms. And is this an income? Yes, we can sell this to student and that's an income. So we update it here. More categories can be created under this field. Let's go for transactions. Here we can add transactions like add expenses, add incomes that the institute has made. Let me see the options of adding an expense. Let's see the one that already there available. Let me select a date, start date and end date, and let me see the expense list that the institution has made. Monthly salary, special student leaving institution refund, monthly salaries, this transport, these are the kind of expenses, and the description with the amount and the description date that the student has made is, the institution has made is displayed here. We can take a PDF report of it as well. Similarly, we can add expenses here. Say I'm adding an expense. Say pantry. I have made an expense in the pantry, like I have made an expense for 1,000 rupees. I've bought something for 1,000 rupees on the date April 17th. I'm selecting it in the category that we have already created. I'm selecting the inventory category and I'm saving it here. So this expense get displayed in the transactions. Similarly, we can add incomes. We get a donation or we make any other incomes by selling. Say I'm selling books to the student. For the amount of 5,000 rupees, which is an income to the institution. So I add this, which comes under the transaction as income. We have another option to see the reverted transactions. Like any transaction that has been reverted, like we reverted this fee, the Scarlett student, so that's get displayed here with the fees collection name and the type of fee. Let's see the option donations. Like here we can see the donations that's been given to the institutions in the from the start date to the end date. We have a list of donors and like who have given amount which is on this particular day, which is get displayed here. Since we are adding these amount, we have a detailed report of it, and we can take a report in a CSV report. We can also add a new one. Say right now there's a donor. I'm giving a description. I'm selecting the date and I'm entering an amount of 5,000 rupees, sorry, 50,000 rupees. And I'll enter, and you can also enter additional details of the donors like contact number, donor address, and add it. We can also take a receipt of these. Next is the payslip option. Here in finance, we have the option of viewing the payslip and approving or rejecting a payslip. These are the payslips that we have created in human resource. We must have learned about this in the previous module. Let's have a look at the payslips that are generated in the human resource module. So here in human resource, we create payslip for employee. Let me show you one. I'm creating payslip for this employee for the month of April. I've created payslip for Anita for the month of April. Now I can view the payslip here by selecting the department and the month. It shows the list of students for whom I've created the payslip. I've created payslip for Amar. I've created payslip for Anita. Let me view Anita's payslip. As a finance person, I have the privilege of viewing the payslip of an employee and approving and rejecting it. So now I can say that this finance payslip is perfect, so I'm approving it. In case if I want to reject the payslip for a certain reason, I can select the payslip, reject it, and give a reason for rejecting it, or just reject it with a reason. Again, this payslip will be seen under human resource. See, as reverted employees, we need to select the particular department and we can see the employee name whose payslip has been reverted. Right here, the human resource employees can make changes to their payslip by editing and making any changes to the components that they've entered. So I'm giving a medical insurance for 4,000 and I'm making changes to it. Now again, a finance person can view the payslip for the month of April for the same employee, which is in pending. Now the 4,000 medical insurance that a human resource employee has added is getting displayed here. So now I can approve it by entering the prior comments. Now by doing this, I've approved the payslip. I can take a PDF report of approved payslip with the status as approved. So there is another option for approving payslip in one click. So we need to select this and select the particular month. Say I'm selecting the particular month April, and I can select the option so that all the payslips that are generated will be automatically approved without reviewing. Let's go for the finance reports. We have a report to show the transactions. Right here we need to select the start date, and need to select the end date, and we can ask for display reports. It just shows the report financial transactions that has been made in the period of time, and it shows the graph. It shows that there's a salary expense that we have made and the incomes that have been there for the institutions. Right here as fee, as instant fee, as inventory, in transport and other incomes. Similarly, we can view a report for another span of time. We have an option of comparing transactions between a time period. So I can select the time period and compare the transaction. And get a report. A detailed report of both the time span and the transactions made in this particular time period is getting displayed here with a graph describing the transactions. We have a factor of comparing both the transactions in both the time period for every individual factors like salary, donation, fees, applicants, and instant fee, etc. Let's go for the asset liability management. There's two fields like asset and liability where an institute can create and manage their assets that they own. Like you can create the asset and view the assets that they own. Say like furniture, desk, lab equipments, and the total amount they have. They can also do an option of inactivating these assets they own. Similarly, you can manage your liabilities, create liabilities, view liabilities. See here I've created lab equipments on a date of 10th, which is about 25,000, which is in an inactive state right now. So the finance module is completed right now. Let's go for the next one, reports. Reports we find in data and reports. So we have a set of reports right here. Here we can see there's an option called course, batch, student and employee. This represents the number of courses that I've created in these institutions and the number of batches, number of student and number of employees. Here I can click this option and go to view the number of courses that are available and the detailed report about the code, session and the number of students, female and male student in this particular courses. Similarly, I can select the batch. I can have an overall view of the batches that are available and the number of students in his batch. You can also select a particular batch to view the details about the batch. So there's no students since it's showing like that. Let me select a batch where there's students. Here in this particular batch, I can see there are 3 students available and I can see the attendance, I can see the admission date and the admission number. Similarly, I can see the list of students available and the list of employees with a more clear detail of their reports. Here there are other reports like course batch details, former student details, former employee details, student details. Let's see few reports. I can see a list of the former student detail by selecting a date and searching it. Now I can see there are some 3 former students in this time span and the details of the username, user date, leaving the institution, the date and the courses and batches in which they were present. Similarly, employee details can also be seen by selecting the time span. Since there was no former employees in this period, it's showing no employees present. So we have other reports like subject details, employee subject association details, employee payroll details and exam schedule details. We have fees defaulter details and student fees headwise reports. These are the reports that can be generated based on the exams fee and students. We have almost completed all the modules that we've had for this session.